I'm Chronix from the most extreme wrestling, and I've been having the Thunderdome on my mind tonight, and let me tell you, I need to talk about this because the last thing I need is to go to sleep with this Thunderdome on my mind. Now, recently I made a satirical look at what the WWE was going to do. At that time, we were low on details and a lot of assumptions had to be made, which I don't really like doing, but now that we've seen it for the past couple of weeks, we have a much better understanding of what the Thunderdome is. We've seen Raw, SmackDown, well, some people have because they keep seeming to lose numbers, but they did have a SummerSlam, and that's a big event, so I'm going to assume that if there are any remaining fans who pay attention to anything that's happening in WWE, they probably saw that show, so we're on the same page and you know what I'm talking about. But if not, I shall explain it to the best of my abilities. Without the presence of fans here in WWE, they have resorted to the Battledome, where previously they had NXT talent, people who haven't necessarily really made it on television. They had their talent, their trainees out in the crowd, socially distanced and banging on a see-through plastic wall. I'm not sure, some kind of plexiglass, something that is not just hard glass, and it really didn't look great on television. I hated it. I hated the sound of it. It just sounded like people beating on the wall. I mean, which essentially is what it was. And just having these trainees overreacting to everything. I thought that people that were front row at WrestleMania sometimes were overreacting. But, you know, hey, they're at WrestleMania. There's huge, groundbreaking events that they are seeing with their own eyes. I mean, I've seen some of them too, but I was way, way, way far away, and sometimes having to look at another screen to see exactly what was going on. So yeah, I see where they're at. These are trainees who are reacting to what they're seeing in the ring as if it is somehow important. Every single minute detail, these trainees are like, "This is the best thing ever, yeah!" And they're doing all these over-exaggerated reactions and cheering and chants, and it's just painful, honestly. So WWE, in their infinite pocketbooks, I suppose. I mean, I know they did fire a lot of people and they furloughed them and then that kind of thing. I thought that they might have some kind of money problem, but maybe from not being on the road so much and having to do house shows and some of these events that surely lose money. I mean, I understand they don't have their merchandise, that they're probably not selling that as much, but there was a lot of expenses, for better or worse, that are no longer in the picture. So anything that would be affiliated with a loss on the road is not really a thing. And WWE has somehow, they have the money to build this Thunderdome thing, which they have TV licensing and they get a lot of money from a lot of different spaces, and they decided they wanted to up their game and do this Thunderdome, which is essentially just putting screens all over, I would say a third, not the full arena for sure, about half of the arena to make it look like it's full of fans. Now, the video screens don't go up the whole building. You know, it kind of looks like an old TV taping, maybe in the 90s, Monday Night Raw from 94, something like that. They're not trying to make it look like it's as huge as WrestleMania, even though they did mention that the set was better than WrestleMania, which was just a hilarious thing to say. Yeah, they have these video screens, and they're behind the action, behind the wrestlers, and, you know, you have people on their web cameras reacting. I was shocked to find, seeing it for the first time, that they legitimately had fans sitting on web cameras. I just wasn't expecting that, because the obscenities that could be done, people flipping off the camera or mooning the camera or doing it in front of the camera, and we've already heard reports of violent things happening. I haven't seen the video for that one, but I have seen seen some horrible things that would raise a lot of eyebrows, like people in Klan outfits. Let's see, there was a Chris Benoit photo. It's just, of all these years, WWE was trying to keep Chris Benoit off of their television. They edited him out of so many things, either in text form on the network or just taking him out of the conversation of the greatest Intercontinental Champions and the best Chris Jericho matches, and then just this, that, and everything. The whole Eddie Guerrero story. Chris Benoit, he had a lot of deep-seated roots in WWE after what he did in 2007. Well, they tried to distance as much as they could, and and here he is. Surprise, surprise, right in your crowd, the last photo of him before he did the thing that they had to remove him from the network for. So that is not something that they wanted. And how do you control that kind of behavior? What people could do, what they can show, what they can flip on there. And it's like, there was one sign that said "Fire Velveteen Dream," and it's like, okay, well, they banned that person. Well, what keeps that person from just making another account? We have VPNs these days. I mean, they're advertised everywhere. But yeah, these things happen, and they will continue to happen if you have live feeds from people's computers. I mean, technology is crazy, and you could literally put anything on there. But mostly what people were doing was showing pictures of Pikachu and whatnot. People are silly, and wrestling, and WWE in particular, is not really taken that seriously. And they don't even take themselves seriously. I mean, look at what all the things they did with WrestleMania 36, the goofy matches, the tables, ladders, and chairs. Whether you like that stuff or you don't, it doesn't really matter. The point of this is that things are taken a lot less seriously than they have in a long time. The bar has shifted. The window has moved over a certain way. That's just where we're at. So now we have these fans who may or may not take the show as seriously as they might have in the past, and you're just putting them on camera. Now, it is good that they did not use the audio from people. The last thing you want is somebody screaming a racial obscenity over and over, or saying curse words, or saying things that would violate the FCC rules. You can have the exact same problem on the video. You do not want to offend, you do not want to break the rules of the FCC. Now, I haven't had to deal with the FCC personally, but I have seen them in action. And if you go against them, they will come at you full force, and they will take you down. They will fine you. They will find you, and they will fine you. Enough violations against the FCC, and they can take WWE off the air. As we've seen in other sports, we've had cutout fans, we've had three-dimensional fans. It's almost baffling that WWE didn't go down this route, because you could have had CGI people. I mean, they have these elaborate 3D graphics that fly around the arena that nobody cares about, but they do it anyways because they want to look like the NFL. It doesn't make any sense. But the point is, they have the technology for free range, moving around, whatever it's called. I am not a three-dimensional guy. I mean, I'm a three-dimensional guy, but I'm not a three-dimensional guy, if you know what I'm saying. They wanted, I suppose, to have fans on the screen, and they can select which fans are where. Maybe this is just PR, hey, look, we have this demographic, and look at this demographic. We got young people, we got old people, we got guys, we got ladies. It's not just a bunch of dudes, which is probably what they're trying to get away from and make it look more like a family-oriented thing. I was watching, SummerSlam, I think, and there was like a guy and his kid, and they were watching, and I was like, oh, that's cool. And I was like, hey, they probably pick that guy over just the average-looking wrestling fan, or what you would imagine, oh, that guy's totally a wrestling fan. That's smart. However, if you pick the wrong people, then you can have disaster on television, which we have been seeing. And it's not just the embarrassment for the company while it happens. This stuff floats around on social media. So many people have seen these memes, and they're probably thinking, whoa, they had a Klans guy in the background on Raw? What? That is not good. And people can see that. That is worse publicity than showing, hey, we have families and stuff on here. So I imagine that WWE is going to have to change something and change it rather quickly, maybe on how they pick people. Only thing I can honestly think is to do a delay on the fans and have a heavy team of moderators. I mean, my goodness, I've seen YouTube videos that have enough moderators to handle a chat. I'm pretty sure that they could have enough moderators to handle something as such a magnitude as far as financially to undertake. So why they can't vet people, I don't know. Maybe it's just too easy to make a new account and just continue to do this. And this is just the basic stuff. I mean, imagine what would happen if there was a group of people who decided they were going to flood the system with requests to be fans for a show, and all organize a thing where at a certain time they show some kind of pornographic image or some kind of group message or some kind of declaration of violence or something insane. It is not out of the realm of possibilities. And I think after seeing just this trolling, just basic everyday trolling stuff, the WWE is probably reconsidering this. You know, people want to be like, I'm on TV, yeah, and do that kind of stuff, and that's fine and that's cool. However, when you have people who are doing mischievous things that are going to make them look bad, you have to kind of reconsider how you're going about doing this. So where does this go in the future? AEW is already opening up their doors from what they're going 10 to 25%, something like that. Why WWE doesn't do this is kind of bizarre. I think part of it is they don't want there to be videos of their show, their prestigious worldwide show, being witnessed by tens of people. Now, sure, they did it with their wrestlers, but they weren't fans. That's the key. They weren't fans. You know, if they had fans 6 feet apart, it would look weird. You would have fans like running across the room, doing silly stuff and spinning in circles and just being obnoxious because, you know, when you go to a wrestling event, it's hard not to get excited, honestly, and people want to act nuts. But most of the time, you're kind of sandwiched in between two people on each side, two people in front and back of you. So as crazy as fans get when they're packed in like sardines, they go all out. And I really believe if you have fans that are all 6 feet apart on a floor, then it's going to be a little more chaotic than one might expect. That, and they just don't want to have the big empty space. I think that that's the main point. I believe once they start opening up buildings to 50%, they'll probably have fans come in. But at the same time, I think those screens are still going to be there, at least on the hard camera side, and they're going to be very tight with their filming. I just cannot believe that WWE would have a half-empty building with people 6 feet apart and just be like, all right, well, that's good enough. Although, honestly, I think that they should. I just don't think that they will. WWE is very, very protective of their image, which is a weird thing to say when we have teleportation and people disappearing into rivers. This is a very strange time in wrestling, and it's very odd to see what WWE is going to do with the Thunderdome going forward. We're straight up fresh into this. I don't think WWE is going to put up with people continuing to break their battleground rules, and they're gonna have to do something, and what they like, what they don't like, or willing to put up with is gonna be superseded by the FCC. And if the network that they're on, or the FCC, or some kind of group of people who disagree with what they're seeing in in the crowd. I mean, I know that sounds crazy now, but listen, back in 1998, 99, 2000 even, there was a lot of groups that were fighting against the WWE because they felt like they were attacking the morals of the family. They just were not what they felt would be acceptable material for themselves, for their children, for their family. Guess what? Those groups still exist. Very, very interesting to see the development of the Thunderdome and then the eventual dismantlement of the Thunderdome when the Thunderdome collapsed. Because one day it will. One day when we have 100% attendance, there will be no Thunderdome and it'll be gone and we just never will speak about it again. Many things will change going forward and we'll talk more about that as these things develop inside the Thunderdome. Let me know what you think. Hey, if you don't mind me making videos like this, then hey, let me know. I might be able to make a few more of them. You guys are awesome. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. And I will catch you guys next time.